This is Luca from Necrot, and you're listening to the DIEnecology podcast.
Do you ever fantasize about being killed? About all the different ways of dying?
Is it to awaken the fear of the passing of time? Or is it the fading beat of your own heart?
They learned parts of a dismembered female body had been found in a remote corner of San Bernardino County. Why was her skull left outside a local restaurant? And where is the rest of her body?
Death is only the beginning.
Goy Gorkreis, DIEnecology podcast. We have another awesome guest already. We have Luca of Necrot. Dude, how are you doing, man?
Very good. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, it's good to hear from you. And Lifeless Birth came out April 12th on Tank Crimes. Amazing album. I think it's your best yet. It's absolutely just nasty death metal.
Thank you very much.
So I guess talk a little bit about the record before we get into the blood and guts of what we do here. Yeah, just a little bit about the album. And
Yeah, we recorded it and put out the record in April, and it's our third full-length album. We have another album before that. It was a collection of our demos,
yeah.
and so far people have been liking it a lot. I think it's a really good album. We put a lot of work into it. We had a lot of setbacks. Uh, Getting into the recording session because of like health issues and stuff that happened to us. We had to postpone the recording. I got hit by Bell palsy, like a
Oh
facial
my God.
paralysis right before
Yeah.
we were about to record the fucking thing, and so then
Wow.
we had to postpone it by 6 months and everything with it. But right now we're stoked because the album is out. People are liking it. We sold a lot of copies of it. We got on the billboards and shit, and
Yeah.
we're about to go on tour with it. We're about to get on a very long tour. We're starting June 5th, and we're doing the whole U.S. and a lot of Canada too.
Awesome.
And we our friends in Bat, they're gonna support most of the tour, and then the band Phobophilic, and then we got the band Street Tomb doing the whole tour with us. So it's like all the lineups are really solid, and there's always gonna be like a local opener too. Which Vomit is playing the Seattle show. So it's like all the shows are gonna be sick, man. It's like I really hope people are gonna show up for that because they're not gonna regret it. It's the
Yeah.
first time we're gonna be playing this new album live, and it's just gonna be like exciting, and maybe one day a good story to tell. Be like, yeah, I was there.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear about the Bell's palsy. You look great, so I'm glad you
No,
recovered
no,
well.
it's all worked out.
Yeah. Yeah, my aunt had it and it was bad for a little while, so
Yeah,
it,
totally.
it can be definitely tough and long lasting. So yeah, glad you recovered from that. And the tour sounds sick. I mean, it's a killer lineup of Phobophilic and
Hey, Will, man,
bad.
where are you located at?
I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Oh,
Um,
right on. Yeah, I don't
yeah.
know which one will be the closest show to that.
Yeah, I haven't seen Phobophilic. I haven't seen you guys in a while. I can't remember the last tour. I think it was Exhumed, the last time I saw you guys.
Oh, right on.
Because usually I go to Atlanta. It's probably usually the closest
Got you.
place that hits. You guys are phenomenal then.
Thank you.
Yeah, hell of a time. And I love Chad. Chad's a good guy and all his projects too. Um, but yeah, we'll talk a little bit about this the themes of this album. Um, because what we before we get into the big thing, so I guess a couple of the songs here. It starts off with Cut the Cord. Man, that's
What
just
songs did
brutal.
you like on it?
Yeah, Cut the Cord is absolutely nasty. I've listened to that probably like 100 times. It's such a good it's
Killer.
such a good opener to the record, and it's just brutal, straight in your face, what you can expect from the band at this point. But just I don't know, you guys really own it at this point. Just it sounds
Thank you, man.
incredible.
Yeah, I mean, we've been a band for 13 years, and we've
Yeah.
been always, playing this kind of music, and so I feel like that, we're getting better at it, and we've always had the same lineup, which also makes it
Yeah,
like, the chemistry of the band is very strong. It's like
sure.
we never had to change members, and like, and I also feel that, like, just being a three piece, you get like,
Yeah,
you get this like relationship going that is really tight. It's cool,
sure. Oh, for sure. That one and Drill the Skull, that's a nasty song too. I mean, the
Thank
whole
you.
thing is, but those were the standout tracks for me, as far as just the ones I've been drilling into my
Right on,
skull
man.
since it came out.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. What we mostly do here, is I'm the gynecologist, so I like to talk about is actual any, real life experiences you've had with death, or just, whether that can be actual personal things or just things you've seen in your life, or, what you've been accustomed to that kind of influence uh what you do for death metal and your lyrical writing, and just any kind of experiences you've had, because I just want to see how people
I mean, it's like,
translate it,
you're like, you have to face death constantly, rather if it's someone directly dying close to you,
Yeah,
or if it's just like even the end and starting of a new period or a new project or whatever you're going through your life. There is
yeah,
so many times I feel that, like, even as an individual, you have to let go of so many things and habits, and you have to start over and relearn so many times that is like, the
yeah,
person that you used to be, in a way, is dead, doesn't exist
yeah,
anymore. Who
yeah.
I was 5 years ago or 10 years ago, that person no longer exists. And I think that
Right,
that's
yeah,
like the way, that's how life is, and that's how our journey through life is always going to be, from the beginning to the end, and possibly after.
yeah,
But definitely, it's like, it's like, it's something that you have to not fight,
yeah,
because if you start fighting change, ultimately death is change. And like, if you fight that change, it's like you're not gonna be having an easy time on this planet. You have to
yeah,
be trying to accept, because that's the nature of things.
yeah,
But yeah, definitely also, it's like, I have to face, like, my father is very ill with like different tumors, and he has to
yeah, yeah.
struggle with it for like over many years now. And like,
Mm.
there is constantly like, that feeling of like, also because it's like, I moved away from my country of origin, Italy, like now
Yeah,
16 years ago. So it's like I don't see my family that much. I'll see them like once every 2 or 3 years. So it's
yeah,
like every time, you're confronted with the fact that could be the last time you see them.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
so it's like you always have that thoughts that you have to think about, because it's like you're not surrounded by the people that you love constantly. You get to see them once in a while. So then it's like every time the separation is kind of like scary in a way, something that you have to learn to live with. And
absolutely.
and like also like the sickness. And then I had some close friends that died when I was younger, when I was in my early 20s. Like especially when I first moved to the US, I made a really good friend with this guy Nizar, that was an immigrant from Tunisia. And like
Okay, yeah.
we worked together in a restaurant, and then a couple of years later he died in a car accident.
Oh, wow.
And no, totally, like, so you never
Hmm.
know when things happens. And like,
Yeah,
but definitely it's like you have to, it's something that everybody has to face. So it's like it's something that we all are presented with it. So
yeah,
it's not something unique to my experience. It's something
right.
that is very relevant for
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah,
Yeah, even if you don't want to think about it, sooner or later you're gonna have to face it yourself, rather it's someone close to you or yourself in first person. So it's definitely like, part of like definitely comes up a lot in my lyrics,
yeah,
definitely. And mixed with other things. It's not that we're just like a a funeral home, we're just talking about people dying.
right.
It's
Yeah,
not like
yeah.
that.
It's
But
more
it's like,
just
we try
talking about it,
yeah, we try look at the things from a perspective of like, acknowledging a little bit more reality for what it is, and a little less for what they it's kind of like, we live in a society that is always like distractions and
Yeah,
entertainment and instant gratification and shit
sure.
like that. So it's like people are so focused on the media. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, I want to eat that, I want to fuck that, I want to get that. And it's like,
yeah,
lots of people are like so focused on the immediate,
Yep.
immediate what they can get immediately, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, we try and look and talk about real stuff that is a little bit more uh, introspective, or a little bit more even subjects that you don't want to think about
Sure.
eventually, you know. And I feel that, like, you know, extreme metal or death metal is a really good soundtrack for, you know, the world and the reality that we live in, because of, like, you know, there is a lot of it that is based on injustice and
Yeah.
someone else's suffering, and especially in some nations of the world, people are getting like straight up murdered,
Yeah.
or displaced from their houses and
Absolutely.
all of that. So it's like, it's a reality that is sometimes not right in front of your face, but it is definitely, the majority of the world lives in poverty. That's the reality.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
the greatest percentage of the world lives in great level of poverty, without access to medicines or healthy
Yeah.
food or
Just
anything, or even any food. So it's like,
yeah.
you know, it's like we need to acknowledge a little bit that it's like, you know, sometimes us, like first world people, we get lost into like thinking that our life is shit and that it's so complicated, and that
Yeah.
but then it's like, you know, it's all about perspective. It's like, well, what perspective you're looking at your life from, you know. And it's like, people sometimes they get lost in social media and shit when they're like
Yep.
constantly bombarded with people that they're showing this level of living that is, they're not real, or they're just a small percentage of the world that can
Yeah.
live like that or whatnot. And then you start thinking that, oh, why my life is not like that? And
Yeah.
that's just dumb, straight up. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, you're
I
like,
agree.
you're
Yeah.
like, you know, it's like, okay, why don't you compare it to what, you know, you're already like doing way better than
Yeah.
the greatest percentage of people on this fucking planet,
It's
and
true.
you're there complaining instead of
Yeah.
fucking living, right?
Yeah. No, all beautifully said, man. Beautifully said, and very, you know, and I think it's just to have a medium like death metal, and the people that enjoy it and can relate to it in a strange, morbid way. I think, you know,
Yes,
exposing that
I like to
reality, you know.
connect all of that, and it's like,
Yeah.
you know, cut the cord kind of
Yeah.
talks about that. It's like, why don't you fucking disconnect to all this shit
Yeah.
that is like, you know, all this fake stuff that is on the internet. And also, it's like, why don't you disconnect from all this political debate where people are
Yeah.
constantly fighting over
Yeah.
who's right and who's wrong, when
Yeah.
these people in suits that they're running for presidents, they're all pieces of shit.
Yeah. And
He's
they're
straight
funding,
up.
you know, all that stuff. And
All the war and desperation and injustice, and it's like, why
yeah.
should you fucking fight with your neighbor
Yeah.
over these motherfuckers?
When these people are the ones getting paid and paying for this to have, you know, to exist, you know. But that's kind of the whole thing, not to get into a political thing, but
I mean,
that's
inevitably,
what they want
inevitably,
our,
you
you
know,
know.
inevitably, you express your opinion. You'll
Right.
be labeled a way or
Sure.
another, which is like, it's so
Yeah.
limiting. You
But
know, I hate it.
that's
I
what they
fucking
want
hate
us
it.
to do, is to just, you know, we're
Just
part of
yeah,
the cogs of the machine. They want us to fight so they can continue making
fucking
money and
yeah,
doing
no
what they want.
shit.
Yeah, so
They'll categorize us so that we can hate each other.
exactly. And you know, just keep us divisive, and everybody just argue back and forth, and
Yeah,
that's our
yeah,
role, you know.
we
Yeah.
gotta be smarter than that. But like, you
Yeah.
know, music is something that really helps with that, in my
Yeah.
opinion, because it's like it brings people together of all different backgrounds and
Yeah.
races and musical backgrounds or whatever. And it, like,
Yeah.
you know, it brings it all together. You're at a show, you're watching a band that you like, and you're surrounded by people that, who knows what the fuck they think, you
Yeah.
know.
And you
But
guys
at
can,
that moment, you're all there and you're all enjoying, and I'm sure you can grab a beer with any of those
yeah,
guys and have a good time, you
and
know.
mosh with them, and throw them around in the pit,
100%.
and
Yeah,
with a smile on your face, you know.
the pit is a hundred
Yeah.
percent. Like, you know,
Yeah.
is 100% like a demonstration, and people can get along and fucking even push each other without being like a, you know,
Yeah.
something that you need to punch someone in the face for, and
Exactly.
relieve that aggression, and that you need to. That's
Yeah.
why you're paying to get into the show, right?
Yeah.
It's sick. It's
Yeah.
really cool. I love that part of like being in a death metal band. You know, I
Yeah,
really
man.
like it.
And crop pits are pretty fucking brutal sometimes. So,
Yeah,
so
but
if
you know,
you've never
still
been in
people
one,
fix each other up, and
yeah,
you
no,
know,
it's great, and the camaraderie of metal, and that's why I love it. And you know, like I said, with what we try to do here is just really kind of figure out, like, you know, how talking about these realities and death and everything can be just a positive release because it's such a real, like music is escapism, just like movies and media are. But to kind of put it into a perspective of like a really dark perspective, it's actually a very positive thing, like
Yeah,
we
and
can
it's
we
like,
can embrace gore and violence, but it's not like we're glorifying it. We're surrounded by it anyway, and we turn it into something that we can enjoy and not in a
yeah,
sense to where we're supporting it, but we can turn it into something our own perspective and just kind of be like, you know, in a morbid way, just like, that's how we cope with it. We have to turn it into something,
sure, yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
totally.
and to do it lyrically and kind of have like these visuals and, horror movies, everything like that, you kind of like root for it in a weird way, but it kind of makes you, uh, you know, less
Yeah,
afraid
I feel that
of
like,
it.
there is also like a straight up entertainment part for some
Yeah,
kinds of music and movies and whatnot.
absolutely.
And then there is more psychological
Hmm.
stuff that like moves more of like a on an emotional level,
Yeah, yeah,
and it is a little less entertaining and a little
yeah,
more something that makes you think or makes you feel something.
yeah,
Even,
absolutely.
even, even so it's like I think all of it is really great.
Yeah.
It's really great, and it takes some open-mindedness to
Mhm.
understand it and enjoy it. It's not
Yeah,
for everybody.
yeah,
That's why also people that loves it, like me or you, we get really into it.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, and jam it out in your car and freak out, or do it however you do it. But it's always been fascinating to me because I don't even really know how I got into death metal at such an early age. I just kind of it just was instant. I just
It
loved the
just
way it
happened.
sounded. Yeah, and I've been a fan ever since. And the lyrical themes I love because I like reality and I like having so many different ways to interpret things and perspectives of the world and what other people have seen or what we're inspired to write. Whether it be like you said, you could talk about cut the core. That can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. But when you actually
Oh
read the
yeah, I
lyrics and
like
you get
that.
into it, you know
It's
what
true.
it's really
Also, it's like
about.
lyrics are not personal.
Yeah,
I write something thinking about something, and then
yeah,
whoever listen to it can think about whatever they want.
yeah. Apply it to yourself and make it personal for you. And
Yeah, totally.
and that could be something about death. You can just
And I know
make it
that
your own
because it's like
thing.
when I grew up in Italy and I didn't even speak good English.
Hmm.
Sometimes I would listen to a song that I think it would say something,
Yeah.
and then years later I found out I was saying something else. But I
Right.
already
Yeah.
made, I already made a mind with the
Yeah.
lyrics that the singer wasn't even singing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, people can it's art is subjective and you can interpret it how you want and apply it to yourself how you want. Um, which could be a good or a bad thing, but I think for the most part, it's very positive and you know, it's always been interesting because you have friends that don't understand the genre of music. They don't it's something they just hear and they don't like, or people that are
Yeah,
totally against
especially
it,
for this kind of music, yeah, because other
Yeah.
kinds of music they're more like telling a story, like country music and whatnot.
Sure, yeah.
Then there is not much interpretation. It's more like,
Yeah.
hey, I went
Straightforward.
there, this, yeah, totally, totally.
I'm in love. I broke up. I did this. I did that, and that's all fine too. It's all part of reality and stuff. But to tap into something like extreme music or death metal, I think it just
Yeah, it
takes a certain
definitely
kind of
taps.
person
Yeah,
that's
totally,
comfortable with it,
100%.
or
Yeah,
somebody
hundred
that's
percent.
driven to it because they're uncomfortable and they need something to pull them out of whatever they're out, whatever
It's
they're
definitely
experiencing.
therapeutic. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
some kind of therapy, right?
yeah. And I think for me, maybe found it at the right time when I was younger, when I needed it, and it just kept me going this whole time. It still does to this day. You have the whole
Yeah, it's
process.
excellent. No
Yeah,
regrets.
yeah, man. But yeah, it's always fun to talk to you and to
Well, thank you,
appreciate
man.
you sharing your experiences with me today. And it's been a lot of fun. Um, I know death for a lot of people isn't easy to talk about. So far I haven't.
I
People have
mean, it
been
can
really
be. It's
open to
never
it.
easy, man. It's
Yeah,
never easy.
people are
It's
very
never
open to
easy.
it.
And it's like, unfortunately, you have to face these things always. Like,
Yeah,
he just like, I mean, it's like I told you, like my father is sick, so it's like
yeah,
he always has to get surgeries, and then he gets in. It's not easy to deal with the mood of someone who's was having to face certain heavy shit,
Yeah,
and someone close to you that you love, and like, it affects the people around them, it's because it's like sometimes it's hard to fully feel good yourself, knowing that someone you care so much about is going through so much.
absolutely. Yeah. And then so how do you keep going? You just stay inspired, you keep
You
writing,
just gotta
touring.
focus. You gotta stay. Sometimes you have to selfishly come on, like you have to be
Yeah.
selfish to save your life, and like
Yeah,
sometimes you have to try and then remove it a little bit from your head
for
so that
sure.
you can enjoy your life,
Yeah.
your everyday, or the things that are happening to you and whatnot.
I always say stay productive. After my mom died, I didn't really have a lot after that. So just stayed busy, kept trying to
Yeah, stay
work, kept,
focused on what you have to keep
yeah,
staying focused on what's good, because it's like
yeah,
you also own that to yourself, because we
yeah,
are alive and we get this chance and we have this time, and it's
exactly.
like maybe one day we're gonna be in that position
Yeah,
that we're about to die, and
exactly.
so it's like it's something that is many people face. Everybody faces death at
Yeah,
one point, so it's like you still have to you own it to yourself to still enjoy your life or
I
try to
agree.
do the best you can.
100%. Yeah. And, there's no preparation for it, whether
And
people
also
think they have it.
everybody's facing something.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their own fucking problems.
Yep.
It's not that everybody's easy and happy and
Yeah.
for me everything is bad. Everybody's got
Yeah.
their own shit, so it's like we
Yep.
gotta really, that's what being an adult is, kind of a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just gotta face your problems around you, fucking
Yeah.
do the best you can,
You do the
and
best. You got to do the best you can. And a lot of people,
100%.
you're not taught to do these things. I mean, you can try all you want, but when they happen, you don't know how you're going to handle it at first. But
Yeah,
as you get
everybody's gonna
older,
react.
yeah, as you get
Everybody's got his
older
own ways.
and you're more of an adult and you become more accustomed to things and you're more open-minded to things, it is a little bit easier because you can prepare yourself later. The
And I
first
think
time,
it's important to have outlets.
yeah, yeah,
An outlet where you release all that tension. For me,
absolutely.
is the live show more than
Yeah.
anything.
Oh yeah.
Have something that you fucking do. Like if
Yeah.
I think like if you're sad or you're depressed or you're just sitting, you should go have uh, go fight, go have a
Yeah.
sign up for kickboxing or some
Yeah.
shit. Go, don't
Absolutely.
go fight in a bar, but like I mean,
You're like, all right,
you
yeah.
can if you want, but
Some
then you
people
can
do
do
that
that
and,
every. Yeah, but it doesn't
end up in
last.
jail.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And then you're worse off than you were.
Totally,
Uh,
but it's like I feel like you need some kind of outlet, rather it's
yeah.
artistic or like something that you do. Go
Yeah.
running or fucking play music or get a
Go
drum
out
set and
somewhere.
fucking destroy it.
Yeah. Yeah. Get
Right?
inspired. Writing
Totally.
was always my therapy.
Channel that negative shit into
Yeah.
something cool, into something positive, into
Yeah.
something that eventually can also help other people that
Sure.
are going through, inspire someone who's going through hard times to
Exactly.
be like, fuck it, I'm gonna do that too, or
Yeah.
whatever. And then like we gotta like push for this there is some positive message. It's like
Hmm.
if you need to have some positive message. You need to
Yeah.
find a way to turn that negative energy
Hmm.
into something
Yeah.
better.
Because
A
if
lot
you're,
of cool shit, a lot of like good shit happens, or artistic amazing works came out of really hard times,
yeah,
of
absolutely.
people going through really hard times and coming out with amazing art or amazing something, or it can give you that extra drive. It can crash you, or it can give
Yeah.
you that extra drive to be like, fuck it, I really
Yeah.
gotta do something sick, you
Absolutely.
know
Yeah. Like,
to me it was always like a huge drive there of like I left my country to have a chance in music, literally.
yeah.
Like, and it's like, to me it's always been like a huge drive of being like, okay, I sacrificed so much to this, I need to give 300% to
Yeah.
this. I really gotta make it the best I can. And
Absolutely.
like it gave me that drive of like having a comparison of like if I don't do anything really sick with my music,
Yeah.
I was an idiot,
Yeah.
because I sacrificed so much for this.
Yeah.
I can't just be smoking weed all day not doing shit. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah. Get
mean?
that over with when you're younger, and So you
Yeah,
said you
but
moved, here when you were 16. So when did you actually
oh man, I
start?
was 21. I was
21?
21.
Okay.
Yeah. I was 21.
So when did you
Yeah,
start?
you can't just leave your country when you're underage.
That's why I was like, okay.
No.
Didn't know
We
that.
started Necro that I was 24.
Okay.
I was 24 and Chad, the drummer, was 18.
Yeah.
So we started like really young. And like initially when I moved to the US, I joined a band called Acephalix. And I was doing that for like
Oh yeah,
3
no
years
shit.
before I started Necro.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And then, so it didn't take too long. So when you got here, you were just already looking for,
Yeah, I just wanted to play music. Yeah, totally.
just starting off strong.
100%.
Yeah. You knew
Yeah.
what you were
And
doing. You
now,
came here and did it.
yeah, totally. And sometimes it's like, sometimes it's a good move to move, to go somewhere else, because then you have that extra drive of like, fuck, I came all the way here
Yeah.
not to sit around. I came here to do something. And
Right.
then sometimes when you come to a different countries from somewhere else, you see all the possibility that the countries, certain places offering.
Yeah.
While instead, sometimes when you grow up somewhere, you don't have that fresh energy and that drive. Eventually you see more of the negative, or
Yeah.
you start giving for granted all the opportunity that living in the US gives you, and instead of seeing that, you start seeing all the problems. And
Absolutely.
so sometimes I feel like it's almost an advantage coming from somewhere else,
Yeah.
because you get all that push and excitement and that drive of making it worth it to
Yeah.
fucking, I went all the way there to do something. You're gonna have a big fucking drive, and that
Yeah.
sometimes is stronger than other people. Of course, you're starting behind. You're behind because you don't
Yeah.
speak the language correctly. You don't know a lot of shit,
Yeah.
of how things works or what's what. It's like, I remember someone was like, "You need to go to an ATM," and I was like, "What the fuck is an ATM?"
It's
But yeah,
where you
you
get
feel
your
me?
money.
It's like, it's
Yeah.
kind of, I know, right? If you
Yeah.
got some money there.
Yeah. It's good. It's good to make yourself vulnerable too, because a lot of people they want to stay in their
The
comfort zones, and
comfort zone is
they don't.
dangerous.
Yeah, because then when something crazy happens, like death or just some kind of accident or anything,
Oh yeah, 100%. Your
you get.
comfort zone is gone, and then
Speaking
you're
of
not used to
ATMs,
fucking figure it out.
you get your
No,
bank
yeah,
account hacked
yeah,
or something, you
totally.
lose all your money. Anything crazy
Uh-huh.
can happen. So you can't really prepare for those things because it's not how life works. But you can be prepared mentally for when that does happen. You don't hit the panic button. You're just like, okay,
Yeah,
what's the next
right.
steps I need to take?
Totally,
Or
totally.
you can't live in like
What's
just
my next move? Yeah,
you can't live
100%.
in your bubble because someone's always going to come around with a
I'm
needle
just
and
gonna say
pop
one
it.
point is gonna pop. Yeah, no
Yeah,
shit. Or
exactly.
sometimes you're gonna pop it yourself.
Yeah, like you did. It's good that you took took it upon yourself to be like, this is where I want to be. This is how, where I want to go, and you did it, and you're still here, and
No,
you're
yeah, 100%.
you're
Yeah, it
killing
makes
it.
me very, yeah, it
Yeah,
makes me very proud of
yeah. You should be
everything
absolutely.
we have accomplished.
Yeah, for
100%.
sure. And you guys are well loved and well respected in death metal. And at this point, you're pretty high up on the list, I think. So, and if no one's ever seen Necrot live, I mean, got to go see Necrot. They're incredible live. As a three-piece too, like
Thank you.
up there, some of the best, if not, are one of the best for sure at this
Thank
point.
you.
Um, so yeah, and you guys are awesome to talk to and hang out with, and it's always a pleasure. And uh, Chad's an awesome
Right
dude.
on, man.
Very, very
Likewise.
chill guys. Um, get crazy. I've seen that too, so it's always fun. But yeah, you should be proud of yourself because it's I think at this point you guys are pretty influential band. I love Vastum too. That band's sick. Um,
Yeah, I was in Boston for 12 years or
yeah,
something or
yeah,
more.
yeah.
I'm
They're
no
great.
longer in the band, but yeah, I
Okay,
was in
yeah,
the band for all the first 5 albums.
yeah. It's killer shit, man. So you've accomplished a lot in moving here, and it's inspiring because like anybody that just maybe like, oh, I want to leave the country, I want to go see other things, like go. There's nothing
Yeah,
stopping you.
fucking do it. Yeah, no
Go
shit. You
do
can
it.
always go back, right?
Yeah,
If everything
exactly.
falls on your head, you go
Hmm.
back.
Yeah, but you gotta be open to being vulnerable because we all kind of have to be because
Oh yeah,
it,
100%.
something crazy is
And you know
gonna
what?
happen.
What my life told me is that it's like the taking always the safest route
Yeah,
might not take you to the safest place later on.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
agree.
because I know a lot of friends that they had like, they married their high school sweetheart and
Yeah.
stayed in their hometown
Work
and
their
and
job,
and,
have their
and work
kid,
their family business, and then
Yeah.
eventually it's like, you fast forward 15 years, and I was the one who left, who
Yeah.
didn't fucking do anything safe fucking ever,
Right.
and it's like now my life is cool and I love it. It's cool.
Yeah.
I'm playing music and going on tour, and and like, and some of these people, they're like, they broke up, they have to pay child support,
Hmm.
their family business doesn't even no longer exist, and it's like,
Yeah.
they played all the safeguards, and
Yep.
then all the safeguards brought them to a very difficult position.
Now they're
And then
stuck
I know
where,
people, yeah, in a fucking difficult position. And I know people who didn't play the safeguards, and
yeah.
their life was very uncertain for
Hmm.
over a decade, eventually from their 20s until they
Yeah.
were fucking 33 or some shit. But then
Yeah.
eventually their life came together, and
Yeah.
now it's a safer and better spot, and
Yeah.
people play the safeguard all the
You have to
time. So it's
take
like,
risks.
sometimes the safeguard ain't really safe,
Yeah. Because then
because you skip on experiences, and then
yeah.
you're just playing it safe. But then people changes, and it's like you're settling down with who you are when you're 19 or 20
Yeah.
might not work out when you're 35, because
Yeah.
things change and your mind change, your necessity and everything. So it's like,
Yeah.
it works for someone. I'm not just saying like I have an
Sure.
absolute truth. I'm just saying that,
Yeah.
like, be careful with the safe, because sometimes what's safe ain't safe.
Yeah. I totally agree. And when you're playing it safe too, you open yourself up for things to happen, but also you open yourself up for regret because you're like, man, I wish I didn't just work this
Right.
job and be married for all my 20s, and I experienced other things. I went to other countries, I just now I can't, I'm stuck with what I've got
Totally,
and my
totally.
safe route, and now this I have to play it safe the rest of my life, and I can't be vulnerable now. And that's a
Right.
thing too, is some people, the way they set their lives up, and we're kind of taught to play it
And it's
safe and do it that
complicated,
way,
it's complicated when
yeah.
you're in that position. Then it's tough. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
saying anybody's life is easy, but like,
Right. Yeah, but you know you keep yourself vulnerable, you do what you want to do, go, it's not even if you say dreams, but something like moving out of country, like you said, you can
well,
do
to me
that.
it's like,
Just
it's not that much about moving. It's more about, like, don't compromise too
yeah,
much. It's like, if there is something that you want to do, that you like doing, you should
go do
try
it.
and do it. Try and do it, and eventually it's gonna take a long time before it really kicks in and
Yeah.
works out. But it's like, don't just give up what
Yeah.
you really want to do the safe thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna work a corporate job because they give me benefits and
Right.
this and that, and then you're
Yeah.
like, okay, then you dedicated 10 years of your life to some fucked up corporation company,
It
and
didn't
then
give a
you
shit
gave
about
up
you.
about you, and you gave up completely what you really wanted to do, and
Yeah.
eventually after 15 years you're so fed up that you're gonna
Yeah.
quit.
It's like, don't
And
give up
then,
your dreams and aspirations easily, because it's not supposed to
yeah,
be easy.
100%.
You're supposed to fight for it and want it, and do
Yeah,
everything in your power to make it happen.
yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the only thing we can't control is reality and death itself. And, we have to
Yeah, we're
live our
not in
lives,
control. Yeah.
live our lives. We can control that. We can control what we do and how we live our
We can't
lives. So,
control the outcome of what we do,
right.
but we can control the actions we want to do
Yeah. We
to at
can
least do
live and
what's
enjoy.
really,
Yeah,
yeah, be true to yourself, be true to
exactly.
yourself and what you really want to be.
Exactly. But yeah, man, this has been really awesome. I know we're running out of time, but
Cheers, man.
I really appreciate your time and for you opening up and talking. I hope your family is well and things work out with that. And you guys are safe on the road and your health remains good too.
Right on,
All
man.
the best to
Yeah,
you and the
yeah.
Necrot guys and your family. And
Thank you so much.
really
Hope to
do
see you at one
appreciate your
of the
time.
shows. I know we're
Oh
not
yeah.
coming exactly through your town, but if
Hey,
you
no,
find a couple of friends
yeah.
to do a road
Yeah.
trip with,
Oh, I always try to do that. So we'll try to make it out to one. If not, I'll definitely see you soon. Somewhere down the road this year, hopefully, if you guys are doing more.
awesome.
Anything else you
Yeah, I
want to?
mean, yeah, I want to say, like, I really care for people to know about our shows, because sometimes people, they'll be like, oh, I didn't know you guys played,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like, follow our Instagram page, because that's where we update we post all the shows, and
yeah.
right now we got the new album out, so we're gonna be announcing a lot of shows.
Hell
So
yeah.
it's like, check out our social media so you can see when we're playing.
Yeah, and I'll put
Awesome.
links on the video, and I'll put it on the my website as well, so you guys will have all that. So definitely follow Necrot on all the pages, keep up to date. Go pick up Lifeless
Lifeless
Birth if
Birth.
you haven't
Hell
yet.
yeah.
Came out April 12th. You've had plenty of time. So if you haven't, or stream it, whatever you do, share it. Let people know how fucking sick of an album that is. Topping charts, you guys are
100%,
doing
man.
well. So I'm glad for the success for you guys, and well
Cheers,
deserved.
appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.